Hello, everybody. I just wanted to take this time to wish you and yours a happy, in fact, the happiest and safest of all Thanksgivings that you've ever had. Now, I thought it would be remiss of me at the same time not to mention this hostage deal that's supposed to be in progress starting tomorrow on Friday at 7 a.m. Israel time, when hostages, the first 10 of 50, are to be released by Hamas as part of a deal. Many of you have asked me about this deal. Many of you have expressed to me on my social media platforms that you think this is a bad deal, and therefore I felt that I need to address this before the holiday even begins. And that is to say that this deal is actually a great deal, and I'll tell you why. On October 7th, Israel's military and government are responsible for the most colossal breach of trust in the history of the nation, in a total colossal failure of government and army to protect its citizens along the entire frontier with Gaza. Something like 240 hostages, a lot of them women and babies, were taken hostage to Gaza, and therefore it is part of the covenant between a government and its citizenry to protect it. Now, you have to remember that Israel is a very small country. The total population of Israel is the same as New York City, approximately. Because it's such a small country, it is like an extended family. It is not like the United States. It is not this huge continental sized country of 350 million people. It is a very small country, and the tragedy of October 7th has touched every family. And accordingly, there was a breach made in that covenant of trust between a government and its people's army to defend the people, and it must gain these hostages back, or that breach will never be fixed. Now, you may ask, Steve, isn't Hamas gaining too much in this deal? Absolutely not. Let me explain. Just 12 years ago, Israel gave up 1,100 prisoners with blood on their hands. People guilty of mass murder in some cases were released to gain one living Israeli soldier back by the name of Gilad Shalit. Many of those terrorists were recycled and in the future would commit acts of terror that would kill dozens, if not 100 or so, more Israelis. In this particular exchange, Israel's agreed to only give 3 prisoners per one Jewish hostage, and none of these people are guilty of murder. It's basically 150 Palestinian women and teenagers who were arrested for stabbing, obviously attempted murder, but stabbings, okay? But most of them unsuccessful. None of them led to the actual death of anybody. So 150 to 50, or 3 to 1, the lowest price that Israel has ever made in a hostage deal. Okay, and there's other deals that Israel's made in the past with Hezbollah, for instance, in which again it gave up over 1,000 people just to get the corpses of hostages back. In other words, people that had died. Secondly, the deal shows how desperate Hamas is. Over the last few weeks of the Israeli ground incursion, it's now a count of 600 tunnels and shafts that have been destroyed of that metro system of tunnels underneath Gaza City. And we've seen some in the last few days revealed from underneath Shifa Hospital. And the tunnels have not only been destroyed, but they're being sealed. Some of them are being flooded with seawater, others are being filled, and several Hamas people are therefore being buried alive. And this is in addition to perhaps 10,000 or thousands that have been killed since Israel's ground incursion started. I read a great article today, and maybe I'll attach it to, it's in English, so maybe I'll attach it to this video in the explanation area below the video, of one of the reasons why Hamas has agreed to do this at all is just to save face. Okay, the whole, why even agree to such a low price historically for hostages of only getting 3 prisoners back for every one Jewish person. And again, these prisoners being women and children, not a single one of them actual Hamas fighters. Why would Hamas even agree to this? Strictly to save face. They don't even care. It's not even important to them the quality of these prisoners are getting back. The real reason why Hamas wants this deal is for the ceasefire, and the 3-to-1 prisoner exchange was only added to save face. It's the ceasefire that matters to them. Over the next 4 days, Hamas will exploit the ceasefire to regroup, probably to escape further south, where the rest of the refugees from Gaza have congregated in the southern end of the Gaza Strip, to make a final stand or a next to final stand in refugee camps of the Palestinians further south than Israel's current theater of operations. And therefore it's to regroup. But the war will begin or re-begin at the end of the 4 days in its full force, and Israel will continue despite international calls for it to show restraint or to seek a permanent truce. Anybody asking Israel to do so simply doesn't understand the quantum leap or change in the Israeli mindset since October 7th, which is to destroy the enemy at all costs, focus like a laser beam, not listening to the protesters all around the world and not even listening to its friends in the American government. Israel will pursue this war to its finish, and there's still no guarantee that it won't spread to include Hezbollah as well, as Hezbollah today fired munitions into Israel, and Israel responded in such a way that killed not only a few people on the Hezbollah side, but it included the son of one of Hezbollah's parliamentarians in Lebanon's parliament. So in short, as I bring this video to a close, because it wasn't meant to be a full episode here, and by the way, I've added episode numbers to all past episodes so that when I refer to them in future Bible studies, it will be more easy for you to connect the dots and connect the episodes one with another. But I'm going to bring this episode to a close. I just wanted to get my opinion out there on the deal for the hostages. In my opinion, it's actually a great deal. When it's over, the Israelis will pursue the war again with renewed vigor. Don't think that only Hamas is regrouping, but the Israeli army itself now has a few days to regroup, to refresh, to rearm. And like I said, the price for these hostages, the lowest Israel has ever paid in its history, reflecting the desperation of the Hamas organization as Israel is pummeling them in a way that exceeded even their own worst nightmares of how Israel would react to October 7th. I wish you all a phenomenal Thanksgiving. As I said at the outset, be safe. And as I always say, I usually say be vigilant, but I just said it. Be safe, be vigilant, and be blessed. And I'll rejoin you next week when we begin our study or continue our study, the book of Ezra, chapters 2 and 3, which I think I'll entitle The Dawn of a New Age, the beginning of the Second Temple period. And I have a ton to share with you. Anyway, folks, I'm signing off. Bye-bye.